Okay, let's get started then. Can everyone hear me okay?
Sure.
Awesome. Yes. Awesome. So please feel free to mute yourself the whole time. Hi, everyone. Happy Friday to all of you. My name is Salim Beck, and I'm a business development associate here at OKEx. Thanks for joining our AMA, where we have the honor to host Sean Lee, CEO of Algorand Foundation, and of course, our very own Lennix Lai, Director of Financial Markets at OKEx. So this AMA is going to be very casual. It's composed of a Q&A session in which we address some questions posed by our users and algo holders. And we'll also take some live questions while we stream on YouTube. So please ask away any burning questions you might have about the future of Algorand on the chat box. And last but not least, on top of red packet airdrops throughout the AMA, we'll invite all of you to answer questions about algo on a Google form right after the AMA session with token prizes. So please stay tuned. And we'll kick off with a brief introduction of the Algorand Foundation and our guests. So Algorand, as many of you are already well aware of, has built the world's first pure proof-of-stake foundational blockchain, paving a new way towards the decentralization. Its technology enables a set of high-performing layer 1 blockchains that allow transaction execution with speed, scalability, and security. And today we have as our guest today, Sean Lee, CEO of Algorand Foundation, here to share the newest developments at Algorand as well as their future outlook. And we have from OKEx, Lennix Lai, who is the Financial Markets Director, heading the institutional side of the business. He has an extensive background and experience both in the traditional and crypto markets. He covers domains that span from high-frequency trading, risk management, and compliance. So I'm very excited to have both of you on today's session, and we can delve straight into the questions that we have on the table today. And Sean, if you don't mind, we will start with two questions specifically for you. So the first one is, Algorand's path is slightly different from many other players out there, that it also encompasses the traditional financial markets in terms of its scalability. So I just wanted to know, what is the future outlook of this vision? And if you could just give us a use case where Algorand really set itself apart from the other protocols and embedded itself as a valuable solution within the traditional market space.
Certainly, Salim, thank you. And again, thank you, OKEx, for inviting me onto this YouTube live session. It's very good to meet you all, those of you that have joined. This is a very good question in terms of the path that we have chosen. I think I would probably answer it this way from kind of two perspectives. One is really about what we stand for as a project. As our founder, Silvio McCallie, when he founded the Algorand projects a few years ago, this notion of borderless economy around removing friction and redefining how digital asset values is exchanged is very important to us. And that includes the aspect of bridging between the traditional and also the crypto world as well. This is part of our commitment to the future of finance using decentralized technology. And that includes, providing cross-chain interoperability, allowing assets and tokens from various different chains to move freely on the Algorand network, and thereby kind of creating a new model of finance. And I think that can bridge very well into the traditional assets and also into the hot and exciting kind of crypto assets world that we live in today. I think one example of that is our recent announcement with the P network as a way to leverage their platform to be able to create these frictionless exchanges on digital assets. So that's kind of the first part of what we stand for. But I think also importantly, you can stand for something, but you also have to be technically capable of supporting that as well. And on the Algorand blockchain, as many of the Algorand users would know, we already support more than 1,000 transactions a second and growing really fast in that regard from a capability perspective. We can guarantee instant finality. We're at global scale, robust securities. I think all of these, you probably heard me talk on other chats as well. And that really creates a very good environment to support real world applications from transactional, financial transactions but also IoT applications and various different use cases as well. And lastly, I'll just say, as a demonstration of some of our capability, you can go to any of our block explorers, and you can probably see that on average, we're averaging over 1 million transactions over a 24-hour period, with already over 10 million wallets on chain. So that's a demonstration of the directions that we're going into, and it's certainly a very exciting space to be in at the moment.
Yeah, I agree that I think definitely the speed of transaction execution on the protocol is one of its biggest appeals. But for some users who are maybe not very familiar with the token algo itself and the tokenomics behind the protocol, what role does algo play on the Algorand blockchain, and what kind of potential benefits do you give to algo holders rather than the token being used just for a medium to pay for transactions and computations on the protocol itself?
Great question. So what role does the algo play on the blockchain? So first of all, it's the native token. So as many of you already know, of our layer 1 blockchain. And it exemplifies a lot of the core features of what it provides, right? The speed, the scalability, the finality, and the decentralization that I mentioned before. Now, there are a number of functions that it actually plays, right? So one, we talk about it being the transaction or utility token. So all of the transactions on chain will be facilitated by the algo itself. But the algo also represents a consensus token or consensus participation. Since we are a pure proof of stake network, one token equals one vote. So it's part of our consensus mechanism in terms of how the algo plays onto that blockchain itself. What it also represents is a governance participation. And some of you that have been following our projects might have noticed that recently we have announced our governance proposal a couple of weeks back. And this is our way to really entrust a lot of our ecosystem resources towards our community to actually decide and work with us to decide in terms of the future direction on where the Algorand protocol is going. And in that regards, the algo itself also plays a critical role on the governance aspects of how all of those voting aspect is going to be running. And then lastly, of course, the algo itself is also a cryptocurrency. So we do have partners that are using it in various different manners. So I would say the algo kind of play a multifaceted role. It is a utility token. It helps us participate in consensus. It's also part of our governance mechanism, and it's by itself a cryptocurrency. Now, in terms of the benefits of holding the algo, well, I mean, those of you that have looked at the project, when at Genesis, we have minted a fixed supply of 10 billion tokens. So there's a certain amount of scarcity that are involved in terms of holding the token itself. And over the last year and a half, close to 2 years now, since mainnet launch, we have worked hard with our market participant partners, including OKEx, into making the algo as well as the Algorand standard assets available across various different exchanges, and thereby the algo itself is actually a fairly highly liquid crypto assets that are available on the market today.
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Lennix.
Yeah, this is the recent the recent biggest announcement that I've been following Algorand for a long time, for years. So the promise of Algo for solving the trilemma of blockchain is interesting. But the major announcement recently is its governance initiatives that's been announced. So that's triggering a very positive price movement for Algo. So I think the user would be very interested to understand the originated idea of the decentralized governance proposal, and what would be the differences of the other compared with the other governance token, and what would be the impact of the supply, the future supply of Algo tokens. Given that I think it's going to be fully on-chain governance, I think by the end of the year, I think. Maybe you can give us more color for actual impact of the algo tokenomics.
Certainly. So thank you for asking that question, Lennix. The governance proposal that we recently announced, it's been part of the work that we've been working on for several months, along with our founders, Silvio, and the whole goal here is to really have a true governance model where we are entrusting our community to have the opportunity to actually decide very important monetary and economic and policy decisions on behalf of the ecosystem itself. Now, what does that mean? That means, as you can see from the circulating supply that are available in the market today, and the fact that I mentioned there's a 10 billion fixed supply, there are a number of tokens that have been earmarked to support various different ecosystem programs that we're currently running at the foundation. What we're doing here with the governance proposal is actually to entrust the decision-making process of how to make use of these ecosystem resources towards a community itself. Now, what is the mechanics behind it, you may be asking? As you can see in the paper, what we're looking for from a community and token holder perspective is that we're asking for those that are willing to commit a portion or a portion of their algo stick of a period up to 3 months, and with the commitment and also the act of voting on various different topics within that period to be able to earn governance reward. So it's a fairly simple mechanism. It's a fairly short amount of time, but we are asking for community members to really demonstrate their commitment to the Algorand ecosystem. And by the act of actually committing the tokens and also voting, very importantly, on various different decisions, that makes for a very robust governance model where it is true, community-driven, rather than through a more centralized mean that many other projects may be falling into. Now, you asked about the differentiating factor. I think the key aspect here is we debated against this, right? So this is something that we certainly thought long and hard about. We will not be releasing a governance token on top of the algo in order to facilitate governance, right? So as you can see, and as I explained earlier, the algo is acting as the governance token. It is the act of committing your stake and also voting on these decisions over a period of time that generates the governance responsibility, but also the reward, the incentive mechanism around it as well. So there will not be a governance token that we're releasing out into the market, thereby creating yet another instrument, another asset that some may not deem to be true governance. So that's the direction that we're going with.
So just to be clear, that the algo token would be acting as, first of all, is like the transaction paying the transaction fees that trigger in algo blockchain, but also having a role governance the protocol itself. So essentially, by holding that particular token, you can vote for certain direction and contributing commitment of the development of the algo blockchain. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. And let me just add, these are not small decisions. As we indicated in the paper, we're earmarking over 3 billion tokens that are currently allocated for ecosystem support. That is the pool that we're talking about, that are governors, the name that we're calling the new governance model. The governors will be entrusted to vote upon and decide on behalf of the entire ecosystem. So this is a very significant amount. So to us, you're either going to not do governance, proper way, or you're going to do real governance. And we're hoping that this is the
actually that is very important, because some of the governance token in some of the projects right now is actually fake governance. So you do not, even they claim that it's governance token, you do not have the actual rights to dictate the direction of certain direction of the actual development of the chain or the main code, the main source code. You might have the voting rights for adding new instruments for lending, for example, but you do not have the rights to dictate the real actual development. So I think 3 billion, right? 3 billion is a lot. I think maybe 1/3 of the algo,
Yes.
at least 1/3 of the algo supply. So it's actual a lot. So my question is what? So as maybe as the biggest, if I'm the biggest holders of the community tokens algo, so what kind of decision that I need to make?
There are a number of them, and we're still formulating that in connection with various different community members that are giving us valuable feedback. Like I mentioned before, this this is going to be around kind of monetary and economic decisions, and also sometimes about that policy decision as well. I think the easiest example I would give is around the monetary side. So how much of the 3 billion over X number of years within a certain period of time would be entrusted towards the foundations on various different programs that we're running. So for example, the participation reward or the governance reward, how much do we want to put into that pool at a certain amount of time, right? It could also have something to do with the research and social good programs that we're running across the world now. And using some of these examples that we're working with leading NGOs and leading nonprofits organizations to drive use cases, including financial inclusion, we'll be giving those examples and then asking for the community's approval to be able to continue to drive those projects in various different parts of the world. So those are some examples of both on a monetary side, but also from a policy side as well, in terms of these ecosystem decisions that we are really asking for the governors to help us make.
Interesting. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, Salim. You can continue.
And I just wanted to ask Lennix at this point, you're at the forefront of witnessing shifts and trends in crypto trading, investment. So many users are very comfortable to stick to ERC20 or ERC20, TRC20 USDT for now. Do you see a compelling advantage of a shift towards the Algorand USDT? Like, how do you think the user habit can potentially change on large scale exchanges like OKEx eventually to greater adoption of Algorand USDT?
Yeah, I think that's more a question to Algorand, but my suggestion would be, that is so you see Ethereum's awfully choking on its gas fee. So the Tron TLC20 is also starting to charge fees as well. So, but still, obviously, a lot of people still using TLC USDT for transaction, for inter-exchange transaction, and actually it's very important. It's getting more and more important right now. So I think Algorand USDT has as a trading perspective, had 2 advantages, right? Obviously, right now, the first advantage would be cheap, right? It's still actually very cheap. I think it's zero cost, basic zero cost. So it's compatible to TLC20 already. Another thing is Algorand is a lot faster than TLC. So especially when the market is very volatile. So I think for Algorand USDT, at exchange operators, I think a deep cooperation with major exchanges, especially CFI, for adoption in all kind of product line. For example, using Algorand USDT as the major source as default option for transaction, and a credit line for denominated in Algorand USDT, or a collateral or margin charged by Algorand USDT would be hugely, substantially improve the adoption for Algorand USDT. Maybe we need more opinion from some.
And Sean, do you want to add on to what kind of other benefits would be there for users to hold stable coins on Algorand? Like what kind of specific benefits can users enjoy from stable coins operating on ALGO?
Well, I think Lennix probably gave as good an example of of the usage of it on our behalf. I just want to kind of accentuate one of the points here in regards to the speed, right? When we talk about speed, it's not just processing; it's actually finality, right? To us, being able to finalize or settle on a particular transaction is very important. And as a way to really demonstrate that finality speed, recently we ran a what we call a 4x100. Actually, the community suggested it. So we ran a 4x100 relay using USDT on Algorand. And it's a global relay. So the community, various different community members decided to get together and have different members situated in different parts of the world, and they will transact, transfer USDT from one location to the next, and they'll do this 4x100, 100 meaning 100 USDT on Algorand. And I like to say, I mean, it was quite impressive, right? Everybody was, every team was trying to kind of beat each other in terms of the timing. And our winning team, Team Argonaut, actually won the competition in a time of roughly 35 seconds. Now, these are manual, right? So these are manual, looking at the wallet, clicking on the button, and then sending it to the next and next and next, right? So that really demonstrates this capability where you can have on-chain transactions in a finalized manner, transacting not just our native algo, but also using ASAs, or in this case, USDT, in a very rapid manner. Since then, we've actually had other team members come up using API calls and other more programmatic manners, and they've been able to cut it down to 22 seconds. If you look at it that way, our finality speed is roughly about 4.5 seconds at the moment, 4.4-ish. That's you times 4. That's basically almost near real time, right? In terms of the 4 loops. So we're hoping for kind of exercises like these and little community exercises like these are really demonstrating that capability. And of course, with that allows for us to really open up a lot of real world examples in terms of transactions, both in the financial sense, but also in a facilitation perspective. And I think that's going to be quite exciting as we continue to see more use cases similar to some of the ones that Lennix has mentioned.
Right, and I think it also invites us to sort of consider whether it's also been raised by a user on our YouTube Live, like, can Algorand somehow act as a bridge between the crypto space and the traditional market space? What are your thoughts on that in general?
Well, okay, it's not just us, right? I mean, we are an infrastructure provider. We're layer 1 protocol, so obviously we'll do our part in regards to facilitating or acting as a bridge. But I think it involves many ecosystem partners in order to do so. I think, as we see kind of the two worlds starting to collide in a sense, but in a fairly positive manner, by ways of, recent news from Visa, from JP Morgan, and from Fidelity and some of the other more traditional financial institutions into their involvement in getting into digital assets, both in terms of from a portfolio perspective, but also from a transaction perspective as well. And I think that bodes very well for infrastructure projects like ours that have the technical capability, have the speed, have the security, and also a lot of the know-how. You'll see that from the Algorand founding team, starting from Silvio and our technology and R&D team in the US, but also on the foundation side. Many of us come from the traditional world, right? Both from a technology perspective, from a banking perspective, and whatnot. And we're already, looking for opportunities to really kind of bring that two worlds together. It speaks to our DNA. It speaks to the capability that we've built. But more importantly, I think it speaks to our vision in terms of where all of this is going. And I don't think it's going to be two worlds that are operating independently of each other. These two worlds are going to are starting to get closer and closer to each other. And honestly, in a few years' time, we may not even be calling crypto assets as alternative assets, right? It might be just one of those assets, one of the assets that you have in the portfolio. And I think that's only going to bode very well for our industry, but also in general for the world as we continue to get digitized across everything.
Yeah, I think we are starting to ask this kind of question, and we have high hopes for Algorand because the scalability is there and the security is there. So on that front, I have a little bit more of a personal question. Like, what is the biggest fear for Algorand? Like, what do you guys concentrate your resources on right now? Because obviously, as you mentioned before, and Lennix mentioned before, the speed is there and it's scalable. and it's secure. So what do you think can be the biggest step back for Algorand?
I would think the biggest step back, and it doesn't relate to only Algorand. I gotta be careful here, but it's probably around regulation, to be very honest, right? How the regulators and around the world, not just in the US, view crypto assets and the use of crypto assets across different use cases, especially as a bridge between the traditional world and the crypto world, that will really have a severe impact in terms of where this industry is going to go, including projects like ours. If the regulation continue to be fairly crypto friendly, but with good solid regulations protecting the holders, protecting the users of various different assets, so bringing really the benefits of solid regulation, but also the flexibility to innovate and continue to create these technology bridges between different applications. I think it will then bode very well for all of us to continue to build, continue to innovate, continue to try new things, and more importantly, also allow us to not only go into the type of applications that we're probably already experiencing today, but also using things like blockchain and crypto technology into social impact projects. And to me, and especially us at the Algorand Foundation, that is core to our mission, right? Our goal here is to be able to leverage this for real world use cases, but especially around things that have greater social impact, around the environment, around social inclusion. These are things that are near and dear to our heart. And as I mentioned previously, this borderless economy isn't just borderless economy in the developed world. As far as we're concerned, it's borderless economy across all economies. And that includes many areas that coincidentally, where crypto assets and technologies like this can actually be quite helpful. So we're actively investigating in those areas, and I think it's quite exciting. So I probably gave you a longer answer than you asked for, but I think if there's one thing that's we are actively paying attention to, it is regulation. It is needed, but it's also something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think that's a shared concern, if I may say, or shared topic across all players within the crypto space. And we have a user asking on the live chat, does Algorand have any strategic plans to enable NFT features, or do you guys plan to collaborate with any NFT marketplace networks?
That's a great question. That seems to be the buzzword these days, right? So let me take a stab at talking about that. As with many projects or many phenomena in this space, there are different phases that various different projects like or concepts like NFT come into place. We are very active actually in the development of NFTs. We have a number of partners that's already joined into the Algorand network. A few notable ones are like Opulus, Die Hard Art, Uncopied, Art Square, the Italian Wonders, Deadit, and some others. And quite a few of these are already listed as part of our recent announcement in joining into the Algorand ecosystem around NFTs. Now, I do want to talk about one use case, though. I think we've seen a lot of news clips around, some of these higher profile NFT auctions, right? Someone paying $69 million for a piece of digital art and so on and so forth. Those are obviously very attention grabbing, and those are very exciting, right? No doubt. We have a project that I think is equally as exciting, and that's with the Italian Copyright Collection Agency. And this Italian agency was founded actually in 1882. So this is an organization that's been over 100 years old. What they have done recently with Algorand is actually have created 4 million NFTs on Algorand, representing the copyrights of more than 95,000 members within the SIAE. This is the name of the agency, the authors. So that's, to us, that's substantial. It is not only the sheer number of NFTs that have been created on chain, but these are actual copyrighted information that's been in existence for a long time. There are actual usage of these content, these creatives. So it's less on the speculative side. It's more on the real world side. I think it kind of goes back to some of the questions that you asked earlier around kind of us bridging the gap in between. That would be a great example I would share with you. I mean, I'm not sure if there are many other chains that's got more than 4 million NFTs on chain already. So that would be an example of that. Now, of course, there are also people that are creating NFTs on the fly, right? We've worked with a partner called Origin Mint. They've built an NFT creation platform on Algorand. You could actually see that on go to their website. And just one more thing on creating NFTs. If you think about the use case that I just gave you, the 4 million NFTs from the Italian collection, copyright collection agencies, if you were to do that on, say, Ethereum, the cost of 4 million NFTs, I think you can all do the math. It's probably in the $400 or $500 million range, given the gas fee, given the transaction fee, given the fees to create it. On Algorand, each one of the NFT, I think based on our calculations, roughly about 10 cents. So you can do the math, right? I mean, not only is it easy to do, it's very fast, it's very cheap. But here's one more thing. One more thing, I'll leave you with this. That's very applicable to NFT. And that is, by design, when Silvio created the Algorand blockchain, mathematically, we've been proven that we have no forking. There's no forking on the Algorand blockchain at all. Now, what does that mean in the NFT space? And I think Silvio has mentioned this, so I'm going to just borrow kind of what he says, right? So that basically means that there will never be two versions of the same digital assets. So can you imagine having two Mona Lisas? That probably doesn't make sense, right? But when you have forking on the blockchain, that there is a potential of having the token duplicated twice. On our blockchain, once you mint a particular piece, in the case of an NFT, that is the only authenticated version ever on Algorand. I think in the NFT space, that is quite important. So I'll leave you with that, right? We're working on a variety of different things, but more will be coming soon.
All right, I see. Thanks for the extensive explanation. And Lennix, I'm sorry to be asking all the questions. Do you have any other questions for Sean?
No, I think the last word that Sean mentioned, that NFT, because Algorand might be impossible to fork, right? One of the beauty. So NFT is actually quite important. So I think that give us as aware of one of the pitfalls of NFT that is actually can be meant on different kind of blockchain, or different kind of fork blockchain. So despite the fact that we're having a unique of a kind of Ethereum currently, but it can be available in all the rest of the blockchain. So if a chain that's impossible to fork, that actually give more confidentiality for any kind of NFT. An NFT, if that were, imagine NFT could be worth a lot of money, because NFT can be anything, can be much more than art piece than we think. It can be a piece of history, a piece of anything. So it can be worth a lot of money, and as a scalp of NFT can be a lot bigger. So if this thing somehow talking about maybe 10% of current crypto market cap, it can be forked. That might be a big problem in NFT future potential. So I think that is one of the missing point for Algorand being participant in NFT space. I think that's something that we should remind our users.
Yeah, and on that note, any comments or any finishing thoughts that you would like to share before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think I would ask Sean where one of the final question would be what would be the next plan of Algorand major development or major focus, because everyone is talking about DeFi, the USDT might be the start. So maybe we can see a Uniswap version on Algorand very soon. I'm not sure. So maybe you can give us more highlight of the core focus of these upcoming 2 years.
Yeah, well, 2 years is a long time in the crypto space.
So
you're right. We'll focus on the near term. I think you kind of kick it off pretty nicely. So we're continuing to work on various different ecosystem partners, both in terms of the DeFi space, the NFT space that we talked about, and also around a number of the stablecoin ecosystem that we're also trying to build as well. One of those, if you think about the notion of stablecoins, and then in extension, the notion of CBDCs, which as a project we're also involved in as well. The notion of digital currency this definition is almost changing by the day, right? Because there are always new opportunities, new thought, new fruit of thoughts that are coming into the markets, either from a government perspective and also from a private issuer perspective. So it's fascinating to see and also be involved in these stablecoin issuing projects, as well as CBDC projects and various things around them. I would say, obviously, as part of our partnership with OKEx and on the ALGO and also on USDT and on USDC, we're also working on other currency stablecoins as well. So you may know that on chain, there's already the availability of the euro, the British pound, the Canadian dollar through a partnership with QCAT, Brazilian, the Brazilian real, and also the Turkish lira. So these are stable coins that's already on chain. Now, obviously, the liquidity for these in comparison to USDT and USDC are much smaller, but these represent a very good dissections of various different currencies and stable coins that are now coming into the markets and really creating a whole new ecosystem around, built around a digital version of the local currency, right? Now, realistically, you can almost see where this is going in the current. You have the reserve system. Yes, you have the euro, you have the Chinese dollar, you have the yen. But in the digital world, the playing field is probably going to be balanced out a bit. When you're able to have a direct swap of the digital currencies between major reserve currencies that are in a digital format, that changes how the game is played quite significantly. So as a project, we're investing a lot of our resources and also partnerships into working on various different stable coins that are beyond the US dollar, which obviously everyone is using today. And I think that's quite exciting because that enables for even more use cases in DeFi, even more use cases around social impact that I talked about before. But potentially also, why do you always have to buy NFTs using US dollar stablecoins? You could potentially be using the euro and others to buy it as well. So there's a lot of possibility that can be created as a result of that. So if I may answer your question in summary, we're working on DeFi, we're working on various different lending pools and swaps and DEXs and whatnot that are building on Algorand. So all of those are becoming soon. But we're also paying special attention to the digital currency space, whether it has to do with stable coins beyond the US dollar, but also in regards to CBDC projects as well, which we are involved in quite a significant manner.
Cool.
Guys, CBDC, that would be amazing. Wow, amazing. Cool. I don't have any questions. So.
Awesome. Sean, do you have any comments? Any last thoughts?
Well, I mean, last thought is we're very fortunate to have this opportunity to partner with OKEx. So thank you for the opportunity. We really value, the collaborations that we've had thus far, and honestly, a lot of potential opportunities will arise from our continued collaboration in this space. So thank you again for this opportunity to talk to your community. And we look forward to many more sessions like this to potentially answer more questions from the community and also new capabilities that we'll be building together. So thank you again.
Sure. Thanks a lot for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And thanks, Lennix, also for your questions and thoughts. So, and lastly, I'd like to thank everyone who has joined the session live on YouTube. And please stay tuned for more informative sessions with different types of exciting projects and protocols within the crypto space. We will wrap up here, and I'll see you guys around, hopefully in Hong Kong. And thanks a lot, Sean, again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks.